What's up? This is Ed, and I'm here with
Evan.
Hey, Evan. What's up?
What's up?
We're talking about numbers right now. We're talking about the market. We're talking about what's going on. And we wanted to put something together this week for our weekly update.
Yes.
Which, Evan and I had gone back and forth and said, okay, is this going to be a weekly update video, or is this going to be like more of a legacy video that we can always look at? Because we had someone that approached us this week. She was watching our videos.
Yeah.
And I was like, woo, she's watching our videos. She's not a client of ours, but she's watching our videos. I know. Yeah. But she's basically with another property management company and came to us right now in this market because rentals are taking longer to rent. Mm-hmm. And the communication that she was getting from her property management company wasn't making her feel confident that the job was getting done. So Evan and I were talking about it, and we're like, all right, what if we put out there, like I had a whole conversation with this particular person, letting her know the ins and outs of what leasing looks like right now, why or why not things are happening the way that they are, just at least from a technology and system side, so that it can help her better understand what goes on behind the scenes to get to the result that we're looking for, right? And she found it helpful, and I was like, oh shoot,
we should make a video.
Totally. Evan and I sat here, and we could have made the video from the conversation that we had together that day. So trying to shoot off the cuff, kind of similar to that situation, because Evan had so many good points as I was asking her questions. She sees the leasing side significantly more down from the communication side. I see it, after it gets to kind of the number side, right? Evan just totally dialed in like these numbers that we see now in these graphs, and it shows us like what's happening. Look, it was dope. You got to take credit for that one. But basically, it shows, all right, how many leads did we get? How many showings from those leads? How many properties did we have on the market at that time? And how long did it take those to get rented? Is that right?
Yeah, that's the gist of it.
Okay, cool. Nice. See?
So some of the things Ed kind of was touching on with this client or this prospective client he was talking to is what was the company not doing? What do we need to do in this market that is struggling or a little bit slower that Capstone does, but other property management companies don't do?
Right.
One of those things was...
Well, so what we were talking about was, okay, the marketing of how we're marketing properties as rentals now. It's changed. It's changed over the last few years. You all hear me talk about it all the time that, the MLS, like, hey, we rarely put stuff on the MLS. And I've been throwing out this number of like 20%, which has been like ballpark. And Evan pretty much corroborated that.
Yeah.
Said, okay, cool. I wasn't totally off, but similar. She thought it was closer to 10, but since... How long since it's doubled, do you think?
Gosh, last like 60, 90 days.
Okay, yeah. So like the last 3 months, it's gotten more challenging to rent out our properties. So that's when they hit the MLS. I like the MLS because the MLS provides data that is better than any other spot on the internet. It shows the original list price that the property was listed at when it went on the market. It shows the sale price when it actually leased, and the price that it leases for. So those three metrics right there, which I think are super helpful because they tell a story. Also the time on market. So how long were they on the MLS to get to that number? And that's super helpful too, because that helps us in trending neighborhoods. It helps us in saying what's up here versus there. The problem is that there's not enough data, right? If we're only putting 20% of our listings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You gotta look everywhere for it. So to get comps and to get a realistic snapshot, you got to pull from everywhere sometimes to see, what actually closed. And that can be, detective work at times.
Yeah,
like
totally
did that
different.
close furnished? I mean, the MLS, to Ed's point, does do like an auditing. So that's why it is super accurate, is that it you have to put in these numbers. These are real numbers. These are real days that it closed. Like, it doesn't let you fool the system. You have to. We have to be. They hold us agents accountable to those numbers.
Yes.
So unlike, let's say Zillow, if I pull something off Zillow, you don't know what I pulled it off for. Like, I pulled it off and I could have networked or worked out with that applicant a deal that's $100 less.
Yeah.
But
those numbers don't have to be very accurate. Mm-hmm. But nice segue into Zillow. Mm-hmm. So Zillow is another spot that we market our listings. You're not going to find all companies marketing on Zillow right now for their rentals. Why not?
Because Zillow charges per day to have your listing on their site now.
On the MLS, on Zillow.
You think it's a given that you're getting marketed on there? No, you are not. Even with an agent, you are not getting, it is not a given. You are getting marketed on Zillow.
Absolutely. So we're trying to get these properties rented as fast as humanly possible because we're paying per day to have our listings up on Zillow. Mm-hmm. This changed it was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Right around there. Yeah, where we really started. Zillow's been trying to figure out their model forever, right? They stopped buying houses last year because they tanked that piece. They used to make a lot of their revenue from charging realtors like us, marketing dollars to sell the leads back to us for people who are calling on our listings. Then that market shifted. So now we're into more of the rental market, so they're now capitalizing on that too. The benefit of Zillow to the owner, to you, is that Zillow's where people go to find rental properties, mm-hmm. right?
Especially a certain price point. Not everybody works with an agent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're in that $2,500 range, to $1,500, they're looking on their phones.
Totally.
They're looking. No one's really working with those tenants, unfortunately, a lot of times. So they are using Zillow, and they're getting out there, and they're finding their own properties. They're their own agent for that. However, like Ed mentioned, it costs for property management companies to post there. Right. So it is not a given that you are on there and getting that exposure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, we got to be on Zillow. We've got to be on MLS. Like we for some properties we have to be on MLS.
Yes. We do wait MLS, a good testing, and this is what our model is that we post it to our site, which goes out to 50-ish other sites, which includes Zillow. It's even
more than that now, yeah. It's tons.
And we test it, because once we go on MLS, we got to be price ready, because then that marker of days just starts ticking and stuff like that. So, we wait, 10 days?
Yeah, 10 days. Mm-hmm. So if you look at, if you're one of our owners right now and we put your house on the market, you want to go on to, Google search your address, right? See where your property comes up. You should find it all over on the first page of Google from all the syndication that we do, our third-party sites do, to push the listings out there, right? Then those listings filter all of those potential tenants back to our site, which then schedules showings. The next piece that's different for us is that we do in-person showings mm-hmm. for all of our properties. We don't use automated lock boxes. We're not necessarily comfortable with that, and we don't think that the level of service that it provides is what we want to do, right? When we can have an agent actually go out to the property, open the door, build rapport with the tenant, answer questions that they have, it's a different experience for the tenant, mm-hmm. and overall, as an owner myself,
it's definitely a better experience for that tenant and the touch there. That a real person's meeting them there, a real person's hearing the feedback, a real person's answering those questions. But what it also benefits the owner for is it cuts down a lot of fraud. And you're going to weed out a bunch of those people who are just trying to sublet your property, who are, not who they say they are and trying to rent under somebody else's name. These things are key into making sure we're renting to the person who's actually viewing your property. So not only are you adding a level of customer service, a touch, and getting real feedback from these people, from our tenants, your prospects, we're also cutting back on something that is rampant in our industry right now.
Yeah, and
which is huge.
Yeah, more and more. You want to so an example of what that fraud looks like is somebody takes one of our listings, they post it on their own site, or they go to Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and they price it significantly lower. Then they encourage the prospective tenant, whoever they have that's asked, hey, here's a $2,000 a month rental that they're seeing online for $1,200. That person goes to the property. Somehow they gets
the code box number a lot of times.
Yeah,
gets into the property. And then says, here it is, shows up maybe 10 minutes early, gets in the property first, waits for the, applicant to show up. They show up, act as if they're the agent or the owner of the house, which is, a lot of that information is readily available for them easily by Google search. And then they say, it's yours.
Give me a deposit.
Here's your deposit. I'll hold it for you. And they're gone. They lock up the house and they're gone.
Yeah.
And then they'll get the code again to let that person in. And then by the time a lot of people catch it, that person's already started moving in and they're trespassing and breaking the law. So that's one reason one way that happens.
Totally. And think of how messed up that is. So this person thinks that they just scored a deal of a lifetime. Like the universe has spoken on them. The universe is finally shining down on them and they're getting like this positive
smoking deal.
Yeah. And now they're out even more. They're not recouping that. Yeah. Like it's
lost. And it's not a horror wise tale or like, an urban legend. It's happening.
It does. It happens.
And, not only does that happen, we could go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah. But still.
But this thing is one thing that helps eliminate some of those, possibilities and just doing that face-to-face interaction, saying, are you Ed Drummond?
Yeah, totally. No, but I think that those things right now are definitely conversation pieces that we should be talking about, and they're going to change. Like stuff is changing, right? Mm-hmm. It's nuts right now. It's definitely harder to rent properties this month than it was 2 months ago. And I'm telling you straight up, I learned a tip this week. And if you are interested in hearing about finding out how saturated the short-term market is here in the Phoenix area, hit me up and I'll give you a tip that I learned this week that I was just amazed that I hadn't figured it out myself. No, I was just like, oh my gosh, I looked at it enough. I should have put it all together, but I didn't. And when I don't want to share it here because...
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Comment below.
Yeah, because it's definitely taking this conversation to a different place based on the amount of inventory that's on the market right now. Even as on the rental side, we've got to be coming up with creative ways to keep people going to our properties. And again, the more avenues, the better. Unfortunately, sometimes the MLS is one of them.
Yep.
Yeah. Whether we like it or not. The other thing about MLS that I prefer against is when we can get our agents to these properties, they're setting the right expectations.
Yeah, we can control.
Yeah, we control those expectations. And when a tenant shows up and says, hey, I want to offer, X dollars less, it's like, well, I'll pitch it, but
or my agent said that you'd do this when that conversation never happened.
Right, yeah. So, you'll paint that wall in there. Yeah, that's common, unfortunately. So it prevents on that too.
Legacy video or weekly video?
Yeah, we'll see. But I think, thanks for jumping in.
Yeah, no problem.
Evan's going to be in more videos, I promise.
Yeah, we keep saying that.
Oh my gosh. She's got such knowledge. Like, I'm always like, oh my gosh. Like, she sees it from a different perspective. And it's great.
What can I say?
Thanks.
All right.